All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We're back tonight. We're playing more TIMEWATCH. Actually, we're just starting up TIMEWATCH. We had our session 0 last week, so this is going to be our first actual play session, and we're going to dive in and see how it goes. We made some characters last week. Some might be recognizable. You might know their names. Might kind of pop. Others, not so much. But yeah, we're going to dive in and see where the shenanigans take us. So first session, let's do a quick roundtable. Just tell us your character. If you came up with a drive, if you remember, that was one of like the little things I mentioned before. It's like if there's something that kind of, it's again the thing that kind of gets you doing this. Like what's motivating you to travel through time and corrects all these different rips and tears and such. So if you came up with one, that's great. If you haven't come up with one, that's fine. Figure it out. We'll figure it out as you go. But otherwise, just tell us like, who are you, and just and like what era are you from? Is sort of is kind of what I'm curious about. So Maichi, we're going to start with you.
I am playing Syra Mohan. Syra is what her friends called her, if she had friends and not clients. But she is a spin specialist from the 1980s. So, and her drive is risk taker. So she just lives for being kind of competitive and having a bit of an adrenaline rush.
Okay, fantastic. Did you work on any particular campaigns in the 1980s?
I've signed some pretty significant non-disclosure agreements, but if there's anyone you hate, it's probably because I made you hate them.
I'm going to need actual names.
Did you convince somebody to do that stupid tank commercial and then bottom out their campaign?
I may have.
Were you on Reagan's team?
I would prefer not to speak about that in this moment.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to come up with some specific campaigns. I'm just really, if you don't want to talk about it right now, that's fine.
But Dukakis in a tank. That was you.
Oh my goodness. God, I still remember voting for Dukakis in like 3rd grade. Like we were doing like a little, like we were seeing like who was going to win. I'm like, I voted Dukakis because my parents voted Dukakis, and I look around the room and like the other 30 people in class did not. I'm like, oh,
I have to learn about big moments in American politics. Like that's my homework.
My dad used to have a Dukakis t-shirt, and it quite literally said, "Vote Dukakis, bitches." And like that was the whole thing. That was the whole shirt. Just like I just remember that as a kid. Yeah, so silly. So good. All right, Joe, tell us about your character.
Yeah, I'm playing Sun Tzu, the ancient Chinese military strategist guy from about 500 BC. Mm-hmm. My drive is, I think Experimenter was the one that kind of looked the close. I imagine this is at a period in Sun Tzu's life where he hasn't finished his book, The Art of War, quite yet. So he's still workshopping. He's still collecting quotes, seeing how things play out, taking notes as we go around at different parts in time and history.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Fantastic. Melissa, who are you playing?
Yes, so I am playing Isra Tambor. She is a labor revolutionary from the 31st century.
You're way up there. Holy crap. Okay.
Up there. I just picked a number that was from here to the 37th century. So
okay. That's you're really old. Or no, young.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
yeah,
young.
Something in there. I was thinking either 28th or 31st, and I went with 31st. Her drive is death to the strong.
Death to the strong. I like it. Okay. If we do start jumping forward into the future, I believe you had future history as one of your investigative abilities. So you're going to get a lot of you're going to get a lot of control over telling us what the future is like.
Oh dear.
I didn't prep that. So
cool.
That's on you.
We know that's a strength of mine, that like in the moment coming up with
I know,
those kinds of
I
things.
can't wait. I'm
right
gonna especially want
wheelhouse.
names for people and corporations. So get that ready. All right, Adam, tell us a little about your character.
I'm playing Thomas Atkins. He's from the early 1910s. And his drive is unbreakable bonds.
Very nice, very nice. Didn't you? I believe you and Muck had a particularly strong bond that was stronger at one point, but then was not broken. But
well, yes, that was after I was recruited. But I suppose it has been a while now. And a pinball machine can do wonders. Let me tell you.
That's true. It's fair. Jeremy, tell us about who you're playing then.
Muck Pro Magnen.
His name is Muck.
Duty, altruism, whole world lie, but responsible.
He's a caveman who's trying to save the world, despite the fact that the world constantly lies to you. It's still worth saving. This is gonna be our thing. We have a plan. I get to translate for him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And then Chuck, tell us about Jimmy Jenkins.
Old Farmer Jenkins. I'm a pumpkin farmer. I farm pumpkins, and I love trivia.
Okay.
Just love it. I think, yeah.
I was going to say, question for Jimmy Jenkins. What era is he from?
I think the 90s, because I feel like that's going to be the height of some really good game shows.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
No whammies.
Late 90s, we got that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire stuff was coming in.
Yeah.
Jeopardy was still pretty strong.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of those things going on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent.
And you still have plenty of like the 70s ones that were like in syndication.
Yeah. There's so much. I mean, it's getting a little hard at that time period to catch reruns of Supermarket Sweep, but there's still a lot of good stuff on.
Right around the time you can have The Price is Wrong. Ooh. Get you some Happy Gilmore in there.
There you go.
There you go. You guys ready? We get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. So we're going to start just really briefly. I want to get kind of like a little snippet of your characters when they are essentially activated for a mission. So in a second, we're going to go around and like you're all going to be getting like a notification come through on your tether or whatever it might be. So like where and when are you? You could just be at the Citadel and that's cool. Just tell us about that. You could be at a specific like time that you like to hang out in your off hours, whatever it might be. But also maybe tell us about like how, especially if you're not in the Citadel, especially if you're in a different era, what does like the tether or the notification look like? So like if like you're in the 90s, for instance, maybe it's a pager. If you're in like if you're in like 300 BC, what does it look like? What is this? I'm just kind of curious. So we're gonna start with that. So, all right. So we start up, and let's see who's gonna go first for me. Muck. Jeremy, you're the first one. So we fade in from black. Where do we find Muck at this moment?
So Muck, for what he feels are better reasons, has let his own relationship with Isla and the rest of the clan go, but that doesn't mean that in his own free time he doesn't sometimes go back to kind of keep tabs on them. Maybe he knows a particular window that was going to be extra hard. And with the disguise unit, he can make himself look like a different person. So there's just like the mysterious stranger that comes in, helps do some extra hunting, provide for them, kind of watch over them. And then just for him, like it probably looks almost like it projects like looking like something at like a constellation or something.
Okay. So as you're bringing back whatever kill you've gotten recently, do you know what era you're from? Did you ever look that up? Like what prehistoric era?
I mean, I was willing to go yes and when somebody said Cro-Magnon, so I'm all for it.
Okay, Cro-Magnon. Okay, good. So as you bring back like your kill, you see people start grabbing it here and there and pulling to dress it, whatever it might be. You start seeing like something in the sky begins to, or at least maybe only you can see, and you feel like maybe something in the back of your ear because you do have like your tether is connected to these earbuds. So you start feeling like a little kind of static come through. You look up, you see the stars, or just for you starting to move, which you recognize as like you're being activated. There's a situation that needs you. You're being called back to the Citadel. So when you do you like step away? Like how is it because obviously you can't just like travel in the middle of them, right?
Yeah.
But what do you do to make sure you're away from prying eyes when you travel from this time period?
Yeah, well, you bring back the big hunt, and as he's helping them dress and strip it, and he's basically handing all the pieces. They're all starving, they're hungry, and he just makes sure to fill all their hands and take nothing for himself, so that as they're busy grabbing their own stuff, it's just kind of like almost it's basically caveman Batman. Like as they're all grabbing their own stuff, they're starting to haul it away, and they look back, and the stranger that helped bring the kill just isn't there, and the snow kind of swoops across the hillscape, and that stranger is gone.
Like as you leave, and we see you just like off in the distance, like you opened up your autochron, which is probably just looks like a walking staff or made a spear or something.
Yeah.
And you zip away, right? We see like some curious, like young Cro-Magnon type, just sort of like looking around and maybe catches like the last tail end of like a flicker of purple, but doesn't actually see you. And then looks around for you and can't find you at all. We cut over to is it Isra? Is that how you're pronouncing it, Melissa?
Isra Tambo.
Okay, Isra, where are you and when are you? And what manner does it look like when you get activated? Like, is there like a device or et cetera? So where and when do we find you?
So you'll find Isra on planet G5724 in the 28th century. So this is kind of the planet that she worked on. And this was the period of time before it was turned into an industrial planet. So it has this sun and moon combination where it's basically always bright, which is sort of how it got taken over of like you didn't have to kind of provide lighting. It was always light. And there's this like 20-minute window where you sort of have the kind of one side and the other side sort of like a set and a rise kind of a situation. And so there's this very beautiful 15 minutes of just the entire sky is, you know, moonrise, sunset, just lots of gorgeous colors and whatnot. And so that's sort of like just where she goes, because it was just sort of a as yet untaken over, kind of unspoiled natural place to be. And so it's that sort of hollow notification. So she sort of has like a wrist, an armband that she wears, and it sort of gets this, or it kind of taps downward. So it kind of like, not quite a vibration, but it sort of like taps downward onto the wrist. And then you see sort of the pop up kind of hollow notification.
Okay. And so as that pops up, you hear the little thrumming in your ear of like a notification. You can see you're being activated, some kind of emergency situation back in the Citadel, and you find a place. Obviously, without prying eyes, you wouldn't want your suddenly activate your autochron when visible to anyone else. And once, just like Muck, we see you step off to the side. We see like this little purple flash like around the corner of like a, you know, down a hall or something like that. Maybe you drift back into some sort of cubby and away you go. Then we check in on Sun Tzu. Love saying that. We check in on Sun Tzu. Where and when do we find Sun Tzu when he gets activated? What do you think, Joe? Speak up a little bit. And by that, I mean unmute your mic.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he would hop around a little bit, but I imagine he would spend a lot of time back in like ancient China, and he would kind of try to hit the highlights of ancient Chinese civilization. So I think he would hang out around like 800 AD all the way back to like 500 BC, just kind of anywhere in there.
Okay.
So I picture him closer to like 800 AD China right now. And I imagine too, he's got kind of like this layer that has a bunch of secretive things from other time periods that he hoards off that people can't really find. And I just thought it'd be funny if he was obsessed with like really old school war computer games, just like really terrible graphics, and he's just obsessed with like playing out these games and like Risk and stuff like that. but computerized versions
like
of them.
you say video games, so he has like those little dedicated like one game on the device kind of thing before we realized you didn't have to just limit the device to one game. Okay.
Right. He's got a bunch of like war games and Risk and stuff like that are all.
Okay.
He spends a lot of his time doing that.
Little buzz comes in your ear, and at first maybe you think it's one of the devices, and then suddenly you realize as the buzz happens again, you look down and you see that you are once more being summoned. What does your autochron look like in this century? Because like the autochron, for those of you, is your time travel machine. It's essentially a metal stick.
How we get? Is that also what we were summoned on? Like, is our communicator separate, or?
It's more of your tether. I'm treating it like your tether because your tether is like your computer that taps in, that gives you constant access to like the true timeline, so you know the true timeline.
Okay.
And so like the autochron is literally your time travel device. So it's a thing that lets you it extends, and then like this holographic UI comes up, and that you kind of input your things, and it goes pretty quick.
I'm definitely thinking it's like a scroll that just looks pretty inconspicuous most of the time, and then when it turns into a portal, it just unravels and turns itself into a circle, and then ravels itself back up, and he steps through it.
Okay. And so we see Sun Tzu fade off as well. Next up, Thomas Atkins. Where and when do we find Thomas Atkins, Adam, when he is triggered or activated, we should say, for a mission?
Thomas Atkins is probably on leave back home, and he's got like a pocket watch that he's looking at as he's waiting on a train to arrive, and he looks at his pocket watch, says the time, and then he presses a button and it flips its face to a different side, and it's got like a digital display that he can interact with as it's calling him, and so he interacts with it to be called out. Are
you like Muck in that you're still kind of keeping an eye on the people that you knew in your actual lifetime and not in the post recruitment into Time Watch? Are you like kind of keeping an eye on like family or friends or whatever to make sure they're okay? Like obviously you wouldn't be like living with them anymore. They probably presume you've died or were missing in action or something like that. But
yeah, one of his cohorts, one of his comrades, Winston.
Okay. All right. So
just comes back and checks and makes sure everything's okay.
Okay. So maybe you see like Winston, maybe, Winston's like, drinking a pint or something, like either maybe you're like looking through a window of a pub somewhere, you get the signal and you step down an alleyway, wait, and then we see that purple and you disappear. Then we come to Syra. Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
When and where do we find Syra?
Syra is 1987 US, like a diner off the road, off the highway somewhere, and she's like all sharp angles. She has short hair that's very precisely cut, and black hair, and she's wearing this like dark gray, like charcoal heather kind of suit, and she's sitting across from this very like James Marsden looking type, like Disney Prince, all-American, like, and they're kind of sharing a plate of fries, and he's got this like strawberry milkshake that he's drinking, and she's like looking around the diner. She's like, I don't know why I always let you pick the place. And he is saying to her, he's like, oh, please, you love a man with authenticity. And it's like authentic. This would be like a nostalgia prop if I was ever going to do a play. Like, this would be that kind of prop. And he's like, please, you're like one blazer away from like a Senate hearing. And they're kind of having this sort of playful banter back and forth. And she gets a buzz on the pager she has inside her blazer pocket and asks for a second. And when she opens it, that's I think when she sees the notification, because her pager is constantly going off.
It's perfect. Yeah, it's a perfect. It's like it's definitely the perfect appearance for it. Do you like step into like a bathroom stall and go? Do you leave? Do you get up and leave?
I think she gives him kind of a knowing look, and she's like, I need to take this. And she gonna excuse herself. He nods understandingly. She goes up to the counter and asks the server there if she can use their phone, and then kind of ducks into the back.
Okay. So we just see like as everyone's sitting in the diner here and there, there's like just some like purple flash like down the hallway to wherever the the bathrooms and the phone are. And then finally, Jimmy Jenkins. When and where do we find old Jimmy Jenkins when he gets activated?
Yeah. You find Jimmy Jenkins at his farmhouse, out in the pumpkin patch, making sure the tarps, the pumpkins don't get too much sun, are all fed up right. He's got his Walkman with his little headphones on. He's listening probably like Encyclopedia Britannica from, a couple centuries in the future. Just out there working his pumpkins, listening, probably at like double speed. He's listening to it.
Okay.
And
I love the fact that Encyclopedia Britannica continues. It survives. It makes it. That's great. That's such good news. Yeah.
But because I'm also in the 90s, when I get a copy of it, I manually record it onto cassette. That way, when I'm walking around in the 90s, it's just a cassette player that I got.
Okay. I like it.
But yeah, and when I get the notice, I get a little chime on my little calculator wristwatch.
Yes.
Of course, Ewan. Please tell me it's one of those Casio watches.
Yeah.
Because of Casio.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But I get the notice. I look down. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm in the middle of my pumpkin patch in the middle of nowhere. Maybe I've got an old farm dog laying on the porch watching me as it just sees the purple flash.
And it just puts his head back down because he's used to it, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all of you get zipped back. No time to, this is all narrative. We don't have to travel test for that. You get zipped back. We see this montage of you all like landing or, coming back into the Citadel. And as you do, you can hear that there are alarm klaxons going off. And it's not necessarily anything to be too concerned with. You just know that there's some sort of serious breach. You can see like your various tech personnel are kind of quickly coming over, checking on you. You're getting routed over to one of these like little jump chambers and everything. We see this montage of you all going to like I like to imagine you guys have like a locker in the Citadel and you're like getting your Time Watch uniform on and anything else you might not bring with you to your various other time periods when you do your little sojourns. You're all getting a debrief, like this audible debrief. You hear the voice, a very familiar voice, your handler. Melissa, give me a name for a handler.
You are.
You are. Okay, their initials are you are.
So
on a first name.
So their name is Arnold Follett.
Okay, so you hear Arnold Follett is giving you this debrief. It's very quick. It's to the point. And he's just like, there's a naturally occurring time rip 1945 reports about some sort of anachronistic wildlife that's rampaging all throughout the Southwest United States at the time. It's July, so it's going to be hot out there. Make sure you drink your water. You can get dehydrated even in the past, so just drink a lot of water. So anyhow, sort out the rampage, investigate the time rip. Make sure no one remembers. Yada yada yada. You get it by now. And we see like all of you as you're grouping up together in this like jump chamber. You can see you've got your gears on. We actually see the Time Watch uniform, this like blue jumpsuit with like racing stripes and stuff here and there up and down the sleeves. You can see you've got this little, each of you has like some kind of wrist like bracelet that is now projecting this holographic map of the Southwest, and it's kind of shifting and changing until it localizes Tularosa, New Mexico. And then we see all of you quickly take your autocrons out, they extend, get your holographic display, you input, and then one by one, this purple bubble comes around you and you all disappear. I need everyone to go ahead to make time travel tests for the first time. As you all are, while you're doing this, we see black screen, 1945, July, Tularosa, New Mexico pop up. So time travel test. This is your first. It's a very simple test. So anytime, with the exception of those of you who might have the one booster from Reality
Grounded.
Anchor and stuff. Grounded. Thank you. You don't have to do it, but the rest of you, you do. And so a time travel test is very simple. It's a D6. It's you can spend optionally chrono stability if you want to add points to your roll. You can also just roll a D6, and if you get a 4 or better, you're good to go. If you get a 1, 2, or 3, you take a little bit of chrono stability lost, and that's essentially where you're at. So, let's
So
just
if you add the chrono stability, you lose it.
Yes, you use it. So it's always kind of like a trade-off. It really depends upon like how bad of a paradox test you're taking. A standard travel test would only have like a 2 loss, so it's not really worth spending points for it, because if you fail, you only lose 2 chrono stability.
Well, I failed, so we can test that out.
Ooh, me too.
Okay.
I failed as well.
All right. Okay. Wait, I got Tommy with a success with a 4. What are you talking about? I see Tommy.
Oh no! I just
A5.
looked on the die that was in front of me as soon as I clicked the button.
Gotcha.
New mistake.
Okay. Those of you who fail, go ahead and take 2 chrono stability loss, as one by one, almost instantly, all at once, you all appear, because you can kind of like daisy chain almost off each other to make sure you're all landing in the same basic place. You all poof back into existence. We see like the purple bubble begin to fade away. When you look around, you can see each other. Those of you with chrono stability loss of like you probably had, like maybe you can kind of flavor it how you want, whether it's like a bit of nausea or some sort of vertigo that kind of comes through it. But all of you, by the way, can take a stitch for your opening intros as well. So go ahead and take a stitch.
Yay.
So divvy those out. And as you look around, you realize that you are in, well, I mean, it definitely looks like you're in some kind of some feed or supply yard. You can see grain sacks all over the place. You got farming construction tools here and there. You got some split rail fencing, some hay bales stacked up, lots of dust, a couple tin roof sheds. You see like you're in some kind of yard for a large feed store. And more than that, like even before you get your full your full awareness down, you hear the sounds of screams, people screaming like, help, help, people screaming really loud. You hear like a gunshot or two just pop off in the distance. You hear this deep, like bellowing sound, like all of a sudden, and then something smashes. And then you can see on the horizon on the other side of where the centralized hub for like this feed store is, you can see bits of smoke here and there starting to waft up into the sky. So as you all get your bearings, as you all going to deal with your chrono stability, I ask you, what are you doing? How are you going about? What do you want to do?
With the loud bellowing noise, do I identify what kind of creature it is?
That's a great question. Do you have what skill, what ability would you say you think would help you identify? Trivia works when there's not a better ability to use. So I'm trying to remember.
About outdoor survival.
Outdoor survival is the ideal.
Hey.
Nice.
You got both of those?
I've got both.
It sounds to you like it sounded almost like an elephant trumpet, but it was a little, it was not, it didn't sound exactly like, maybe you go to zoos or something like that.
It was a little throatier than your everyday elephant.
It was a little bit awkward. But there's something about it that's a little bit different, but you're pretty sure it sounded elephant-like.
Muck, I think it's a mastodon.
I mean, clearly at that point, if you point me that, I think I would lean on my notice. I'm going to go try and find some good looking point to get a
Absolutely.
peek on what's
While
going
he's
on.
running off to look, I'm just rambling off mastodon facts to no one.
Okay.
Very nice.
Okay. I mean, there's plenty of other people there. Okay. So Muck, you said you wanted to use some notice to see if you can get a better look at what's going on. Absolutely. As you move towards, like, again, you guys are in the storage yard for this feed store. And as you kind of move to one of the fence that encloses it, just basically simple wooden fence. 1945 was a simpler time. And you peek around the corner of the feed store, you can see this road, this like dusty desert road that kind of is like in a downtown, small town, Southwest America. You can see what certainly looks like dated housing. And you can see there's a upturned car at one point. You can see one of the there's a barber shop where that swirling blue and white and red signage has fallen down. There's glass all over the place, and you hear the sounds of people screaming. And then you see a massive, shaggy, brown elephant that rushes up and headbutts right into what looks like some kind of truck, just a basic truck, and smashes it into the storefront of a general store. And you just hear people screaming from inside. You also notice that there's people on the ground, literally on the ground. You're not sure if they're hurt, they're dead, or whatever it might be. So as Muck peeks around the corner, as Jimmy rattles off facts about mastodons, what are the rest of you doing?
Could I use, would Timecraft be a thing that lets me see, has there been any sort of anomaly, a portal that's opened up recently? Is there any sort of thing that's reading us off? I don't know if we have sensors for that.
Absolutely. You immediately pull out some of your equipment, and you can tell that there is chronal radiation in the area that shouldn't be. It's not just localized to you all. Obviously, there's going to be some from you all coming and using your autochron, but you can tell that the radiation is saturating this town. If you sneak up behind Muck and you just do a quick scan around, but you can see just from what you're able to see and then what you're able to scan, it is absolutely saturating the town. And you can see it extends out and away from the town as well. It doesn't seem like that radiation signature matches the type of signature that you would get for your autocrons. So you would assume that it's coming from some other mechanism besides that.
Okay.
So I
don't actually know if and this is a mechanic question, but can I throw a stitch at Joe for that? Because I was going to do something similar, and I think it's a cool
I'm
idea.
fine with it. Yeah, take it. Absolutely.
Yay.
Okay.
First stitch.
Just remember, stitches will eventually replenish your general ability points if you want to use them. They can also give you bonuses to damage and reduction to damage. A couple different ways you can use them. You can have a max of 3 personally. And you guys are like my trade just did, reward each other for cool shit. Because if I miss it, one of you should step up on it. Okay.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So I wonder if I might do something sort of tangentially related to that now. Sanzo's looking for anomalies. I wonder if the organization that we're part of has sort of a database of newspapers or anything that I can look at for this time period to see if anything that was going on was reported on in any way.
Okay. What you can do is you can access your tether, but the tether would only give you information pertaining to the true timeline. So you would presume already that this has changed. This is not part of the true timeline. It doesn't look like there's a giant mammoth or mastodon that likely was here in like the true timeline. So accessing the tether wouldn't necessarily give you that information, but you could get that information elsewhere, other ways. There's other ways to get that.
Okay.
What you could do is you could tap into the tether to see like what kind of historical things are going on in the region. Like you could do that. Like that's something you would be able to get just from your tether right now if you wanted.
Oh,
See why is this a significant time?
That would be awesome if I might.
You know that very quickly and very succinctly, right now it is July 20th, 1945. In the true timeline, 4 days ago in the White Sands deserts, Oppenheimer and Project Manhattan tested the first atomic bomb while the bombs were en route to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So you would know that 4 days ago, the first atomic, like an atomic test, like the last atomic test before use in World War II, was 4 days ago in and around Tularosa, New Mexico.
Okay. I will share that out loud with whoever is in earshot, which is not Muck.
Okay. So I'll say then that you, like Jenkins probably hears it and everything. We haven't heard from Isra or Thomas. Do either of you want to take on a task here?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's possible. I'm trying to think of like we need to subdue this beast, and I've got a med kit, and I'm trying to see if I can fashion up something that would launch a tranquilizer into it, or some sort of, not necessarily tranquilizer, because I don't think I'm walking around carrying a tranquilizer dart, but like some sort of sedative. And so I just looking around to see if I can scrap something together.
Okay. So I would say you probably wouldn't have something that would necessarily like knock it out because it's so damn huge. If this was like a dog or something, certainly, but you could do just something
to make
it
easier to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Let's take a look at how we could do that with you. You've got tinkering, you've got science.
If I could work on this
expertise.
With Thomas, I have medical expertise, so like I could work with him on it.
Okay. He's got it too. He's got medical expertise too. Yeah. All right. Here's what I'll say. Make a tinkering test. And because of your medical expertise, we can just say like no spend necessary because you already have the medical expertise, but just make the roll for tinkering. And remember that before you make a general ability roll, you have to call out if you're spending points. You can't spend them afterwards.
Right.
So if you want to do that, if you want to spend points, spend them beforehand, and that'll be your dice modifier. And if you succeed, you will have a tranquilizer that you could potentially use to help slow it down to make it a little bit more difficult. Yeah.
Okay. So do I know what I'm hoping to roll on the die, or is it like
most of the time you're not supposed to know?
Okay.
I can't remember if this is one of those exceptions. I don't think it is one of those exceptions. So
all right.
I would say on average, you're going to know, you guys would know that most of the time your rolls are going to be targeting a difficulty of 4. That's the most common difficulty, but there will be situations where it could be higher.
All right. I'm going to spend 2.
Okay.
And we'll see.
All I got to use. Perfect.
All right. And I also have rapid deployment.
Okay. So you're going to be able to and that would probably be more useful if you guys were actively engaging in combat. Right now, you guys are just kind of like reconning.
Oh, I see. I haven't deployed it yet. Okay. Yeah.
Right. But you have it. So just like keep a note of that. You have this device that'll help. You have a dart of some kind that you could pretend or like a substance that you could somehow administer. Okay. What about what about Isra?
So Isra, I would say, wants to do some interpersonal, like maybe some reassurance, wanting to kind of grab someone, see if there's someone to talk to, and just sort of get the lay of like what exactly is happening here, that kind of thing.
So you see moments after this thing like headbutts the storefront of a general store, it kind of whips around and you can see its massive tufts just start sweeping left and right. And it's like ripping up what looks like little like newsstands. You can see it grabs like a bicycle that has been like leaned up against what looks like a fire hydrant. And then you see the fire hydrant so like whoosh, as the water goes up into the air. And then as it's continuing to whip back and forth, its trunk smashes into what looks like a diner, and you see all these people start running out and scattering, and it's chasing one after the other, like picks one up, and you see a man just go ah! Like Wilhelm screams to the other side of downtown. But this woman comes running in your direction. You can tell that she's probably a waitress. She has like a waitress's outfit on. It's 1945. She's got like an apron on, and she basically comes running in your direction, and she's panicking. She's got like these black rimmed glasses. Her hair is like all kind of messed up from running, but she's like trying to hold on to it as she runs. And she's like,
over here. Have a hiding spot over here.
And then she'll dart over in your direction as you do so. Reassurance, no spend necessary. This is just something about your tone of voice, maybe, or what you look like. Like she just like, or just the simple fact that you're not a giant mammoth. And so she comes darting over,
promising cover.
And so now in the back of this like feed supply yard, all of you have like cover, and you're looking. It's a good, in terms of distance, like you guys are still, not quite, about 100 meters away or so, as it's thrashing around, and there's poor people that are like freaking out, diving into a truck just for the truck to get lifted up over top of them and smashed down. What do you guys want to do?
Ma'am, what in tarnation?
I don't know what's going. I don't know. That is the hairiest elephant I ever seen. Why is there an elephant downtown Rosa? What is happening? Oh my goodness! And she's panicking.
We're gonna figure this out. You just stay right here and you will be safe.
Okay. That would be a great time for the military folk to be around. They've been around all the time lately, but now suddenly they're not here. They're good for nothing. She's almost hyperventilating at this point.
I think I'll yank on Thomas's sleeve. We have some rapport from before. Things, maybe a little rockier than they used to be, but we have a history. Sleep shot?
Yeah. Let's show these Yanks what we can do.
Sleepy, scary. Eye behind. Woo, scare. Run away from people. You sleep shot first, me scare second.
Understood.
They're gonna tranquilize it? Why are they gonna tranquilize it? You guys just have what is happening?
We've been called in to take care of the situation, and that's what we're going to do. So don't you worry your pretty little head about this. We are going to get this taken care of.
Are you from the sheriff's office? Park Ranger. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to sit down now. And you can see she's just breathing, and like you can tell, like she's sweating. She's got a little, like she's got some glass, like little bits here. Nothing too terrible, just like superficial wounds. Okay, so you guys are going to go pick a fight with this thing in a way? Is that the idea?
Hopefully shoot with a tranquilizer, and then my hope is to use intimidation because I know it's line of sight. Have some familiarity with hunting, ancient beasts. And just like...
I'll tell you that intimidation will not work. Haunt, however, could potentially work. A tiny little man is not going to intimidate a giant woolly mammoth. However, you can
get its attention.
So let's go into combat initiative.
Okay.
Let's talk about that because you guys are actively going to take an aggressive action towards it. So in TIMEWATCH, initiative is popcorn. I think all of you know what that means because I think we played it in other games. But if you're watching this and you don't know what that means, essentially is one person goes and then they pick who goes next. That's how it works. All of you get a turn basically per round. And then whatever adversaries or NPCs I have that I'm working with, they also get turns. Now, the trick is that whoever goes last in a round gets to pick who goes first in the next round. So if all of you go, and the adversary is still alive at the end of the round and they get to go, they're basically getting to take 2 turns in a row. So there's that to think about. This game suggests that while you're taking your turn to maybe call out who is going to go after you so they can get their turn ready. But, do your best. Okay. So I'll say one of you are going to take the first action as you're going to attempt to do something. So which one of you, in terms of your plan, is going first?
So can I go first and do the taunt, Jeremy? Because I have a point in that. And
I mean, I'm never going to argue.
Then I'll hand over to you to do what you were, or Chuck, or no, who said they were doing before?
Thomas has the sedative.
So we've got to distract so that Thomas can do the sedative stuff.
Yeah. And I'm going to assume it's not just a sedative, but he actually has a weapon that he tinkered. Like something like a, not a blow dart, but a medical dart gun or something like that.
Took an old pipe and an air condenser. And
so I'll go first, do the taunt, and then hand over to Thomas.
Okay. You would probably need to get a little closer. Right now, you guys are again about 100 meters-ish away. So that's long. So I would say if you move into near and like you put yourself like right in the middle of the street, it would see you and you can do whatever it is that you think that you would want to do. Okay. So you're moving up. So what's the nature of the taunt that you're doing? Like, what is it?
I think she's heard the Muck and Thomas plan and believes in it. So she is moving up as close as she can and yelling obscenities at this thing while picking up the stones from the ground and throwing them at it.
Okay. So you're hurling obscenities that it definitely doesn't understand, but you're throwing rocks. And it probably is going to understand that better. Meanwhile, there's people on the street, and this waitress here's like, "There's no need for that kind of language." And so if you
up, Mildred.
Okay, I also want to point out, don't forget, you guys are supposed to keep a low profile. Like be careful. Okay, so you if you spend a point of taunt, I will say it will stop attacking these people fleeing from the diner, and it will turn its attention to you, and it will start coming in your direction.
Well, absolutely.
And so, flavor-wise, turns, and it's gonna start moving in your direction. It's not its turn yet, so it's not actually moving, but it turns. You can see it looks at you, and like a bull getting ready to charge, it's like, and it's getting ready to charge in your direction. Who do you want to have go next?
Thomas.
Okay, Thomas. What would you like to do?
Wrangling another beast right now. So Thomas is going to put down a tripod he made and put the pipe on top of it. The air condenser has been filling up right now, and he's going to release the valve in order to shoot this tranquilizer dot at it. So
right. I think if you're going to have a whole tripod and like a launching system like this, like I would have made the difficulty higher on the tinkering test, because that's a lot of stuff. If we're talking about like a medical handgun, we were good where we're at. So I would say, like, if you want to make another tinkering test to rapidly deploy like and create this makeshift tripod, I would be down with that.
Let's do that because it's more fun. It may not be the best move, but yeah.
It would also probably let you attack it from further away. Like otherwise, if you were just keeping the medical gun, you probably have to get a little closer.
Okay, yeah.
Right now, it's only going to be Syra I kill.
Yeah. So I'm going to spend 2 more to get this done.
Yeah.
And that'll be a 6.
Between stuff you've brought, or just like makeshift creating something. Like there's all sorts of tools, construction tools you piece together, and because of your rapid deployment, you can use it immediately on this turn to take your shot. Is that what you want to do?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So this is, so I said 100 meters. So we're about long. So I would say this is probably, I would say no penalty to this, considering you've taken the extra time to create a system for a longer shot. So you're rolling a shooting test versus its hit threshold.
Okay. And so shooting, we really want to get this done. So I'm going to spend 3.
Okay.
And yeah, let's see what happens. That's a 3, so it's a
All
6.
Right. That will in fact hit. And I'll give you guys a choice. You can either have this effect be like a stun shot, like you're like it has stun to it, or I would just give you some kind of ad hoc bonus, like I maybe reduce its health or like reduce its threshold or something like that. A stun thing though means it makes a stun test, which means it could have literally no effect whatsoever. So I'll give you the choice, Thomas. What do you think?
Let's do the ad hoc.
Okay. So what I'll say is like the stun is I'm gonna decrease its health a little bit. Not so much that it's taking damage, but just that it's going to get a little sluggish. And because of that, it's going to be maybe easier to wear down like over time. So that's what I'll say. Okay. And so you fire, it whistles past Syra. You see it smash into like this furry brown flank of it. It screams a little bit, but nonetheless, like it doesn't fall over. It's so huge. It's gigantic. Who would like to go? Who would you want to go next? Who do you want to go after you, Thomas?
I'm going to then turn to Muck because following the plan that he suggested, and I'm like, you're up, pal.
Okay. So given the age where we are and kind of the nature of the streets, do we have any things where they have, sometimes in some of your older towns, you would see the thing where you had kind of like the canopy sort of things that would come as the outcrop from the buildings to kind of provide shade over stuff?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, for sure.
Since we're not doing the intimidation, it's already been taunted, it's already been tranquilized, so to speak.
It's going for Syra. Yeah.
He's looking to look for one of those things because he wants to do is to try and find a way to get one of those pulled down over its face to deny it its line of sight and just kind of like blind it while it's tranquilized and hopefully just kind of like shh. It's like putting blinders on a horse, basically. I
like it. There's been a lot of destruction. So you do see that some of those overhangs, those cloth overhangs, almost like awnings, some of them are like flapping freely. But I will say that there was definitely like a colorful cloth awning over top of the barbershop that it had recently headbutted, and you see it kind of flopping around. It is a ways away from you.
Okay.
But if you want to move up, you could potentially like get to it and be ready to throw it on your next turn. It's like 100 meters away, so you're looking at like basically racing up essentially.
That works for me.
Okay, so we see Muck just takes off. What do you think Muck looks like to other people right now in 1945?
Muck looks like well, he said he was a park ranger, but I would think like in general, like he's just naturally short. But he probably looks the equivalent of like I can't believe we just lost his name. The dude from Roger Rabbit. Short, scruffy,
Bob
but kind
Hoskins?
of intense looking. Bob Hoskins, yeah.
I love Bob Hoskins.
Yeah,
I think in general,
favorites.
the general default look of Muck is Bob Hoskins. Like he's like small, but kind of intense.
Okay. I love Bob.
With Bob Hoskins
great.
every now and then got on all fours while he was running.
Okay. So you're running. I don't think you would probably be getting on all fours right now, but I think you're at least you might be doing it, but everybody else, like people see you as like as racing, those on the street. Okay. So we see Bob Hoskins in a park ranger uniform, underneath reaching up and trying to grab this flapping overhang. Perfect.
Bob Hoskins parkour.
Absolutely. So you're ready on your next turn to try to drop that over top of his face. Okay. So who would you like to go next? Still haven't gone, or Sun Tzu?
I clearly heard
Jimmy.
old Farmer Jenkins knew what this thing was, and he's super smart, so he'll know what to do.
Okay. All right, Jimmy Jenkins, it is your turn.
Oh
man, you're muted, my friend.
I don't do anything.
Okay.
Just stand back like it's a mastodon. Like, we're not here to fight a mastodon. What are you doing? It shouldn't be here. but we're not here to fight it. So I'm just gonna stamp maybe.
Yeah.
Do you have any like
Yeah.
reassurance or anything that you can try to crowd control with me? Because that's what I was going to do, is try to like move people out of the way, also so they aren't watching what we're doing.
Oh no. Well, no.
I'll tell you this, Jimmy, you would know that it is actually a mammoth, not a mess.
Yeah.
It's a bull mammoth. It's got these big old curved tusks and everything as well, but they're very similar. So yeah.
Do I remember any fun trivia about mammoths that could be useful here? I would imagine all my trivia is probably pretty textbook, so
Okay.
there's not really any firsthand accounts like, oh yeah, they'll always charge the color red, or they're allergic to lilacs.
They had no real natural predators, so to speak, because they were just so large and powerful. They would sometimes crush things beneath them without even realizing that they were crushing stuff, which is probably the most powerful way of harming something. But their tusks were like this, like it was their biggest, like it was a weapon, something they could literally weaponize and just like sweep and take out packs
Lord
of
the
things.
Rings.
Yeah, so like when various like dire wolves and such would try to like group up and take them down, like swinging these tusks back and forth would allow for like this big AoE sweep. And so you would know you guys probably shouldn't dogpile on it, is essentially the idea. Okay.
Yeah, I'll yell that out in the most convoluted, complicated way to try and explain that. But I'll get the information out there. Like, don't get close to it. It's got an AoE. It's got an aura of danger.
The swing radius of the head is approximately
It's got a cone
20 feet across.
Attacking, trying to pull something down over the face is a bad idea.
Very bad.
Only if you're
Very
there
bad.
by yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're there by yourself, you're fine.
Oh.
Okay. You've got three choices, Jimmy. You've got Isra, Sun Tzu, and the mammoth.
Mammoth.
Okay.
I respect it.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely wanted to do it at some point, so it didn't get too attacks off.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way.
Okay. So the mammoth has been taunted by Syra. Syra has made the most obvious attempts at drawing its attention, using all sorts of foul language, and then also throwing stuff at it. And in moments after that happened, it suffered some strange piercing damage to itself, right? So instead, what it's going to do is it's going to charge at Syra. So it's just going to ignore these people, and it's just going to... So it's going to move right at him. So all of you watch as Cyrus standing there in the middle of the road. This massive mammoth runs her down, like rears back, and then tries to stomp down, crushing her with its front legs. So I'm going to make a test against.
I don't know if I can use my athletics booster.
There is no, we don't have dodge. This is the source of the serpentine.
Oh no.
We looked up at that.
Oh,
so yeah,
God.
Sorry.
I'm so sad not to
Just
dodge.
get hit.
Right? You're just
By
going to
the
get
way-
hit right now.
I would love it for it to be that, like, because of all of the things that we have that let us fit in, like Cyrus dropping F-bombs, but really what's heard is this, like, golly gee willikers, lady, why are you in the way? It's like, fuck you, Milton.
That's exactly it.
G
That's
with
exactly it.
energy.
Yes, exactly.
So take a stitch for that. That was funny. Melissa. Speaking of stitches, you're about to take some damage, Syra. I just want you to know a lot of it. And remember that you can spend stitches on a 1-for-1 basis. So if you have any, you can spend them to reduce the damage that you're about to take. Okay?
And your armor reduces it.
And your armor is going to reduce this as well, as this thing rears back and is going to smash down on Syra. Okay, Jesus. For 9 points of damage.
Oh. I'm below 0 at this point. What?
Gosh.
I
Okay.
started at 8, so I'm at
Did you
-1.
Did you reduce for armor? So
Oh
you would
no,
have taken 8.
I have 1 stitch and 1 armor.
So if you want to spend that stitch, that means you're taking 7 points of damage and you don't have to make
Okay.
a consciousness test.
And my armor also reduces it by 1.
Yeah, like that's what I mean though. You'll take
Yeah.
hang on. You'll take. Let me double check something really fast. I want to make sure.
I don't think your
it's one.
armor value reduces. I think your armor value stays at 1, but it.
Your armor,
but
your
I'm
armor doesn't, like,
wondering
break
if
or
I
anything.
take 8 points of damage or 7.
If you're spending the stitch, you're taking 7.
Okay, I am. So I'm taking 7.
Yeah, the stitch will mitigate a point, and then your armor will mitigate a point. So that means 9 down to 7. So you are still conscious, but you are underneath the giant feet of a mammoth that is crushing you to death. Fortunately, who better to go and save you than Sun Tzu himself? And it is your turn, Joe.
All right. I don't know. My plan was
Lecture on
really
what
for like
core tactical strategy that was.
I was wanting to remind all of you
up.
of something. I want to remind something. This is first session. You're time travelers. Just remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You have stun weapons. You have the pacifist gun, if you want to do that. But you're also like you're time travelers and stuff like that. There are rules for trying to time travel in the middle of combat. If any of you think that would be useful in some way, there's also plenty of spends that you can make to get bonuses on various things as well. So don't forget that you have tons of investigative abilities that have some cool things that you can do with them. Preparation, flashbacks, stuff like that, that you could potentially use depending on your abilities. So,
okay.
Think in those extra dimensions. It's not just space, but time.
Sure. I think I want to go down the route, maybe military tactics, and then see, are there any large structures? I'm thinking I want to try and get it to wedge itself like between 2 buildings or in a place where it's just not going to be able to move anymore.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. So I would say no spend necessary for this. You could just get the lay of the land, and you can see that there is between the general store and the barber shop, there's an alley. Okay, that you think that if you led them, it could potentially keep them. Keep it kind of pinned somewhat, and it would have more difficulty swinging its tusks around because there's not enough sweep. So as you start to move, because you would probably have to move to see that. So we'll say we move out into the street a little bit, get a better look at the land, and you can see that if you wanted to kind of get it pinned in one of these alleys, that's the best place for it.
Okay. Cool.
That's not an action. That's just you getting some information. So you're
getting free information.
So you're still welcome to take an action.
And then I guess I can do an action with taunt again to try and direct it there. I want to use my gun to try and stun it, zap it in a way that cattle prod it along.
Okay.
Direct it that way. That's my goal.
Okay. I love it. So is your goal is specifically to cattle prod it? You're not worrying about doing damage. You're just trying to get it to move.
I want it to get wedged there in a way that we can start dealing with it, and it's not going to rampage anymore.
Absolutely. I'll say with your movement, you get within range of the pacifist, which has to be. The pacifist can be both a scuffling melee attack, and it can also be a shooting attack. But you have to get relatively close for the shooting to work. I would say with it charging Syra and then you moving in, you are now close enough. So make an attack, and I'll say if you hit, it's gonna whatever setting that you put on the stun fist is gonna on the pacifist is going to send it in that direction. It's not gonna hurt it so much as it's going to hurt it. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I don't think we'll be able to kill it effectively. 8.
Okay. 8 is phenomenal. So as it's rearing back to smash down on Syra again, you shoot out with the pacifist. Now the pacifist, no one can see it. It has no visible effect. So your waitress friend, the various other people that are on the street that are panicking right now, no one really sees anything. So it's really just suddenly its ass it just does this, and it leaps up, nearly stumbles over itself, and stumbles into the direction of that alley. So it's kind of on the sidewalk, but not necessarily because it hasn't taken its turn just yet. Okay. Which means Isra is the only one left, I believe. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you get to go twice.
I've got 2 thoughts. I want to. All right. I have an 8 in vehicles.
Yes, you do.
So I would like to find a vehicle. So, let me ask this: would being on a vehicle help me be able to kind of get closer to this thing to shoot it with my pacifist?
If you're in a vehicle, there's all sorts of wonderful things you could potentially do. You could crash into it. You could get somebody in the back of the truck and taunt it and lead it outside of town. There's lots of things you could do. You could also just get close and just be cool and shoot out the window of the truck you're driving. That totally could work as well. So sure, if you want a vehicle, there are plenty. And it's 1945, so most of them probably don't have their doors locked. So it's probably not too hard.
Yeah. And there are some military around here. So if there might be a military style vehicle perhaps here.
I'll say there's like a hefty truck, like a delivery feed truck. You don't necessarily see a military presence. She was saying that they had been around. Where are they when you need them? That's what she was saying. But you can definitely find right out in front of the feed store. There is a big flatbed for delivering things. However, give me, you don't have the keys. So I would want a tinkering test maybe to see if you could get this thing going. Hotwire it really fast.
Okay. I will spend 2. I'll spend 2 tinkering.
Okay. Give it a roll.
I rolled a 3, so that's a 5.
Okay. So you quickly pull from the dash, put some wires together, and suddenly it starts up. Where would you want to drive it? Would you pick up on what Sun Tzu's trying to do? Trying to lead it away, or what do you think? What do you think you would do?
I'm gonna say that we work together enough that she kind of looks to Sun Tzu for that tactical kinds of a thing. So whatever it seems that he's doing, she would kind of follow.
You're desperate to impress him. Yeah.
Because he thinks I am a mindless reality show watching bimbo.
That's funny.
So you drive the truck. Do you want to try to get out in front of it to lead it down the alley? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay. So you drive it across. You bump over top of Syra's body. She takes 20 damage. And you get into the alley. You keep going. Absolutely. You're in the alleyway. It's tight for you, so it's going to be tight for it. But maybe a horn, honk, honk, and it's continuing. Now it's looking at you. You definitely think it has eyes for the vehicle now because it's been smashing vehicles left and right.
Nice.
Okay. End of the first round, top of a new round. You can pick anybody to go. It could be yourself. It could be somebody else. It could be the mammoth. Just saying.
I'm always bad at picking strategically who should go next.
Don't pick strategically. Pick based upon who you like the best.
Oh, well, now I'm just going to sit here for 5 minutes and think in silence.
Whoa. We're married. Shouldn't I get to go first here? What's that about?
We know better.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh,
Learning
no.
stuff. Okay. All right, Isra, you're in the car. You're looking back. Do you keep going? Do you get somebody else to do something? What do you think?
I'm going to throw it back to Sun Tzu because I think we're kind of up front here. So that's what I'll do.
Okay. Well, Sun Tzu, she has picked up on what you were putting down. She's chasing. She's going down the alleyway. It looks like it's interested in chasing after it. It's still angry. It's lumbering a little bit from where you shot it, and you can tell it's a little bit more sluggish based upon the tranquilizer that Thomas gave it. So what do you want to do, Sun Tzu?
Let's see. Maybe I want to make sure that no one's in the way or going to get crushed by it in this alleyway. I imagine an alleyway is probably where people are hiding and things. So I want to make sure it's clear.
They were, but they're now underneath the truck, so you don't have to worry about them.
Oh, good.
Switch to GTA.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say like you don't necessarily. It doesn't look like it's going after any like you guys have successfully between Cyrus' taunt, between your attempts at taunting, and between Israel like cutting it off with a truck. It definitely seems focused on you guys, so you're probably okay with it not. And I would say just because we can, I don't want to like really be a dick. Like we'll say there's no one in the alleyway, but Israel at this point.
Okay. In that case,
Shoot it.
yeah, I can try and prod it again. Prod it again with a pacifying thing.
Okay.
Can you spend down to 0 in a?
Yes.
Still, are you not able to use it once you do?
You're always able. You're always able to use it, even a general. If it's at 0, that's just you can't make any extra spends. That you can't like get a bonus on it. You can still roll it.
Okay, cool. I'll spend 1 on the scuffling. Oh, and I needed it because
perfect.
That puts it at 4.
Okay. Scuffling. So you walk up and you punch it in the ass. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
With my pacifier.
So you're right. So you are right behind you. You're up in point blank range, and you just start wailing away at its backside. And you just feel a jolt come out of it, like it, and you feel the big heavy flesh. You see like this reverberation go through its back leg, the hair kind of flopping around. You hear a little sound like it registered, like that electrical charge that went through it. It's probably not like it's a freaking mammoth. It wouldn't be familiar with like electrical surges suddenly going through it, so it's probably freaking it the hell out, and that definitely launches it even further. Okay.
Imagine he would quip at that too and say, "A large opponent may be large, but the environment is larger." That's a Sun Tzu quote.
Take a stitch. Well done. Who do you want to go next?
Let's see. Probably give Syra a chance to get out of harm's way.
That's what I'm trying to do. Thanks, Joe.
Busted. You're still up. Breath probably a little bit hard to find right now, but it does seem like Isra and Sun Tzu have gotten its attention away from you at this point. So
leaning on what you had said before and thinking with portals, can I bamf out of like under this dude's like foot and show up on his back, like riding him?
So there are rules to doing it in combat because there is a timing thing. So let me double check it because I think it's like you charge it and then it's the next round. After one round of charging, the device teleports or time travels. So you can get it charging, set its destination. You can set the destination, and then after one round of it charging, as long as it's not interrupted, you can teleport at that point. But it wouldn't be like an instant on this round.
Okay, then in that case,
so cool.
It would be cool, but I don't think I'll be alive long enough to do it if I did do that. So instead, I'm gonna use my pacifist and do a point blank shot to try and stun this thing.
Okay, so you're just gonna walk up, you and Sun. So you're right next to Sun Tzu.
I'm underneath this thing, and
the two of you are right there, and you are punching it with your stun. Okay, all right, go for it. Roll your attack. And you're trying to do damage. Are you trying to do like what Sun Tzu's been doing? It's just like foregoing damage to hurt it away from town, or are you actually trying to stun it?
I have no idea Sun Tzu was back there. So I'm just.
No, I think you would, because he literally walked over top of you. He's like, they basically saved your life. So I think you would probably be aware of the two of them.
That's awesome then. Sorry, can you explain to me the difference between just damaging it and doing what Sun Tzu is trying to do?
Sun Tzu is specifically trying to hurt it away from town. And he's foregoing damage in the stun opportunity to just shock it, like with the electrical charge of the pacifist, just to get it to like it's a cattle prod.
Sure.
If you attack it like normal, it's your pacifists have a stun rating, which means it's going to make a test. And if it passes its test, then it won't fall over. Like, so your stun, so a stun doesn't do damage so much as it just tries to like knock you out. You're not damaging it with, it's not even damage. Like, it's just its health doesn't go down. It's it either works or it doesn't. It does get like a penalty for a round, even if you fail, but it's not going to damage it. It's just you're taking a shot at trying to knock it out.
So we're trying to get it to keep running or trying to get it to stop running. Is
right.
Kind of the...
so I'll align with what Sanzu was doing then. I feel like as a time watch agent, you kind of know that you're supposed to get people safe. So I think that is what I would like to do.
Okay.
How do I roll for that?
Just a scuffling test. If you're punching it, if you're right up on it, then it'll just be a scuffling test.
I have the one on scuffling. Can I spend that to sort of ensure a success?
No, scuffling is a general ability, so you have to roll. If you spend scuffling, then you're getting a +1 on your D6 roll.
If you're using the one you have, just hit the plus on it and then click the dice next to it and it'll. Yeah,
you can also, if you wanted, because you have more in shooting, if you wanted to, your pacifist isn't just a melee weapon. You can step back and shoot it from a handful of feet away, as opposed to like punching it. You can just like get up,
I
step back.
was considering myself fairly incapacitated in terms of like movement because I'm under its foot.
No, that was like, it's been lured away by Israel. Like it's literally, I said it turned its attention away from you.
Then I would love to.
Okay. Get up, take a couple steps back towards where Muck and Thomas and Jimmy are.
Yeah.
And then you turn and you fire. Absolutely. And this is just to kind of continue hurting it away. Yeah, go ahead.
And that is, so I have 6 on shooting. I'll spend 3. Sorry, what do you want this to go for?
Okay. That's an automatic success then if you're spending 3.
Good.
Yeah, because you can't roll less than a 1. And so it gets shot in the ass and it goes down the alleyway. So I'm going to say at this point, I know it's not its turn, but just in the flavor, it's just so your guys are getting your effects. It is now fully down the alley chasing after Isra. It's been pushed off of the street. You can see people are now like racing away from that side of the street. Like you've probably saved lives, and it's racing down this alley. And it's struggling because you can see its tusk are kind of like scratching against the brick of the wall, and the more like the walls themselves are scraping, and you see plaster falling down as it's chasing after you. You're probably not full throttle yet. You're probably keeping it slow until it's moving, but it's right on you. Okay. So Syra, who would you want to give initiative to next?
I'll give it to I'll give it to the mammoth, We'll get that out of the way.
Okay. All right. So if that's the case, if the mammoth's going to get to go, it is going to charge up to the vehicle then, since Izzer didn't get to go first, and it's going to attempt to attack the vehicle, I think, is what it's going to do. It's been sweeping, so it's racing up and then I'm going to have it like just sort of try to rear back with, I'll go with its tongue. I don't think it can do like a full swipe. So maybe its trunk is just going to kind of slap down, and it's going to kind of just try to like hit the flatbed to get like the flatbed down and the truck to go up. So I'm just going to make an attack. So this is less on you and it's more on the truck itself.
Okay.
I might, as long as he successes, I might require something from you to keep control. Okay, it does succeed. So it's going to smash its trunk down into the back of the flatbed, which essentially fractures like these wooden planks that are back there. And you see like there are bales of hay that have now kind of started to fall off and fly up into the air. You have very good vehicles,
I do have
if
8.
I recall correctly.
Yep.
Give me a vehicles test to prevent like crashing this, to keep control of this despite this attack.
Okay, I will spend 2. Let me see if this rolls properly.
Does your Stitch do anything in this one? Because don't you have a couple of those?
Stitches need to be spent to reduce damage, add extra damage, or they can replenish your general ability pools.
I think if it's not damage to me.
Yeah.
I would say probably not. I did spend 2. So I rolled a 4.
Okay. And that is enough to keep control. And you can see as you're driving, you get smacked, like it smashes the back, the front of the cab comes up, the wheels are spilling, you almost go all the way back, but then you flop back down. You feel the crunch as like the actual, the tires themselves like bounce you a little bit. You hit the gas and you pop out the other side of the alley, and you can see in front of you, it's like open like pasture. Basically you just have like open terrain now, and it's a little somewhat hilly but not crazy so but it's relatively flat with these little curves, and you're like now pushing and pull it away from or drawing it away from town, and you are through the alleyway with it.
From a flavor perspective, I would imagine that Isra has been in a lot of vehicles that have way better shocks than a 1945 truck does.
Sure.
So flavor, she probably like hits her head on like the roof of the cab because
Okay.
her most recently driven vehicle was a little better.
All right, take 6 points of damage from that. That's just kidding. Okay, Thomas Atkins, we haven't heard from you in a while. You set it up. You've definitely slowed it down. It's sluggish. It's moving. It wasn't quite able to like get over top of Isra, but you've now kind of lost sight of it. You see its ass going down the alleyway, but you probably can't see it in full unless you move. Thomas, what would you like to do?
Well, first off, how many of these darts would I have?
I would say, like, you don't really care too much about ammo in this game. I would say you have a handful, so enough for the combat, basically.
Okay, yeah, because like if it was, then I would just do something different. So yeah, I'm gonna pick up the tripod and move to try and get a better position, and then take another shot at it in a nice area fleshy area that the needle would have a good chance of going in.
You pick up everything, you race it down the street, you set it back down, set it up, and you fire. I'm going to increase the difficulty on this though, because like of the time it takes to do it, and you're trying to do a quick shot before it departs the alley. So I'm going to increase its hit threshold, essentially. So it's going to be a slightly harder hit. So keep that in mind. And you would know that just from the flavor. It would be more difficult to hit. Yeah.
So I'm going to spend 3.
Okay.
And then let's roll. That's going to be a 5.
Okay, nailed it. So I gave it basically I just gave it a +1. So that's you see it hit, and like now at this point, it like as the dart like hits it into flank once more, whizzes over top of Syra and Sun Tzu's heads, smashes into the back of it right as it just rears back from crushing the flatbed of the truck, and you see like as it takes its next step, it stumbles right into the side of the wall. You see the wall begin to collapse, and it just scrapes along. And now it just kind of looks like it's moving about fairly drunkenly. Like it just looks like this drunken, stumbling mammoth at this point, as it's taken these two big tranquilizer shots. And it's coming after you, Isra, but you're easily outpacing it, and it is definitely like weaving about. Something more, Adam?
Yes. So looking at double tap that I have, that would increase the difficulty by 2, right?
Yeah. So if you wanted to tap, I think you have to call double tap beforehand, because I do think it increases both attacks.
You can do it after.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be announced until after the first shot is resolved.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So the second shot would be at +2 difficulty in addition to the +1 I'd already given it. So you're essentially looking at like a 7 you need for the second shot.
Yeah. And so I would like to use my Stitch to add 2 to a general attribute.
Okay.
And so that would bring my shooting up to a 5. And I'm just going to dump all 5 into this.
Okay. So then all you got to do is roll 2 and you're good to go.
Right. And so it's not going to allow me to go past +3. So we'll just add 2 to this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In the system.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Really? It's weird.
Yeah. Because I only had you can only add from your.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the stitch
Yeah.
+2. Yeah. I
Because
got you.
of the stitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hit it again.
Yeah.
You see it tumbling and tumbling, and it like leans over to the right and it smashes into the other wall. And you see more bricks and plaster fall. And then as it like clears the alley, it just falls face first, stumbling onto the ground. And Isra, as you look in your mirrors, you look over your shoulder, and Syra and Senzu, you have really good views of it too. You can see it's on its side. And you can see that it's breathing. You can tell it's still conscious. But it is down. You can tell it's definitely alive, but I'm going to say at this point, like it's not actively attacking anyone. So I'll break initiative for this.
Yeah.
And you guys tell me, what are you doing now?
I want to start on forgery and make up some mock like circus posters and things and try and explain why this is here. Say it's actually an elephant that's like dolled up to pretend that it's a circus animal. And distribute those just kind of randomly. Like my goal is I'm trying to make people not freak out too much and question what's going on.
Okay. Where would you be getting the materials to make that?
So is this one of those things where you can do a thing where you put it somewhere that like
Preparedness? Flashback?
I was gonna ask about this before.
like you traveled and then brought it back and now you know where to get it from?
Sun Tzu, if you want to make a quick time travel, well, you could do that too. If you think you would have come here with reams of paper, or you could time travel to like 1995 to like a Kinko's.
Yeah.
And then come back. You could totally do that.
I love just the idea of like it cutting and I'm just standing by a printer just waiting.
Okay. Are you good with that? Are you satisfied?
Great.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
You will need to make 2 time travel tests. One to go. And
how do I do that?
So time travel test, remember, it's a chronos ability test. So it's a D6 and this is just standard. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to find a place where no one can see you to do this. And so you race off. So while we'll resolve your test right now. And then we'll say you're gone for a couple moments while everyone else does stuff. And you'll be back in a second.
And don't make it too good because it's 1945.
Okay. With your 6,
that's my first test.
There, and then give me the second.
And my second.
Okay. So why are you adding? Did you spend chronos ability points?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Just so you know, like if you would have failed the chronos stability test, you would have taken 2 points of chronos ability loss.
That's right.
So yeah. If you want, because you know that, I would say, because this is our first game, for the first roll, go ahead and take those 2 back.
Oh, okay.
So in total between the 2, just take 2 chronos stability damage.
That makes sense. Okay.
I
will do
so
that.
while Sun Tzu races off to a segment of the feed yard and teleports back to 1990 something to make some Kinko's copies. He's gone barely any time because of time travel, of course. But for Sun Tzu, it took time. It took because you had to get your stuff. You had to actually, sit down at the computer in the 1990s, like in the Kinko's, and actually design the thing and everything, print it up. Then they were out of toner, and so they had to replace the toner. And so it was a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
While you're doing that, what's Jimmy and Muck do? We haven't heard from you guys in a while. What are you guys up to? How are you following up on this?
Jimmy, you want to go first?
Yeah. I'm just gonna. My goal is I want to do some research because obviously someone put a mammoth here for something, probably distraction, I'm guessing. So I want to go and the shop that's just had its front busted in. I'm like, I want to go use your bathroom and just go to the bathroom so I can peacefully access my tether because it's got encyclopedia knowledge and stuff on it and see if I can figure out, we know where we are, we know when we are, figure out if there's anything in the area that could be a point of interest for time shenanigans.
We did find out about the Oppenheimer stuff just a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's
So
yeah.
Jimmy, your tether would give you information relevant to the true timeline. And I would tell you that there is nothing in there that would explain why there is a mammoth running around in 1945 New Mexico.
Well, not
whatsoever.
Not necessarily a mammoth. I was looking for, is there something else happening now in this spot? That
No circuses, no carnivals, nothing like that would suggest there's something moving through it that would have resulted in this. Outside of like what Cyrus already mentioned, like there was the test in the White Sands near here.
Okay.
There's like no real other news. But while you're in here, you're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And more than likely, there are some newspapers and magazines in here because it's, like to sit and read, do your business. And maybe just you pick up a couple along the way. If you would like to spend a point of research,
Sure.
There might be something you could learn from this, Jimmy.
I will gladly spend
Or trivia. I would. Research probably makes more sense here. I would keep trivia.
All right.
Okay. As you're like scanning through the tether, not finding anything that would make any sense. Like the test was just a couple days ago. There's no way like nuclear radiation would like mutate an elephant or something like that. That's not real. It's then that you like look and you see in a little shelf in the bathroom, you go through the last couple days worth of newspapers, going back all the way to July 17th, which is the day after the test. There's no mention of a test.
Oh.
There's no mention of a nuclear bomb having been tested or an explosion or weird science. There's nothing of that shows up whatsoever in any newspaper in New Mexico, which to you would be particularly strange.
Okay.
And not in alignment with the true timeline.
Okay. Once I get a chance to leave the bathroom and regroup, I'll share that information that it never happened.
Yeah, while you're in here, do a little business. It's fine.
Might as well. It's here.
Might as well.
You never know when we're going to come across
it's
another
intact.
bathroom.
It survived the mammoth attack. Perfect. Muck, what would you be doing?
I mean, Muck went through the whole thing to get the tarp to try and pull the thing over its eyes, and the mammoth is still kind of coming down. Mammoth is a bleeding heart at the end of the day, and will pull the tarp over its eyes. And he knows that elephants and to some extent mammoths kind of have that whole like there's the elephant graveyard mentality. They honor their dead. They kind of have some understanding of that. And he would use a combination of his survival and reassurance skills to like kind of like try to reproduce some of that like the moaning sound that you would hear from elephants at the elephant graveyard. Pull the tarp over the eyes. It's kind of the sun is getting low. It's getting dim. Kind of reproduce that sound a little bit. Try and give it some peace. I would just kind of calm down. Kind of stroke its hair a little bit.
Would you like to make an outdoor survival spend?
Yes.
Make an outdoor survival spend. I think you would.
Hell yeah, I do.
While you're doing that, welcome raiders from Rolling Nomads.
Awesome. Thank you for that raid, Rolling Nomads. We just saved a 1945 New Mexico town from a mammoth attack.
Hey.
Well, not me. I was attacking it. The rest of them did. Okay. Muck, as you're like kind of shushing it, making the sounds, covering its eyes, you see its tail just kind of like starts to wag almost, like kind of flaps up the way like a tired dog might, or a dog who has taken at the vet, has taken some meds. It's not quite there, but recognizes like the familiar presence.
You just kind of bonk his forehead to the back of his head.
And you see like its trunk comes up and like kind of pushes down the side of you, and you think that you have created a connection with this mammoth. Now it is alive, but I'm going to say it's tranked completely, and so it's more drunk than it is unconscious. It's more like knockout drunk, but nonetheless, You can tell like it's stirring you in there, but I would say if you have a certain like animalistic connection to it where it might trust you to agree.
Scratch behind the ears.
You see its tail kind of flops up again, and you as it breathes in and out. Okay.
That's why I took that skill.
you have Crocodile Dundee this mammoth.
If I could, I would change that skill to Crocodile Dundee on my skill sheet.
Just put your fingers up, just tilt it down. Dude, it is thing. God, the 80s.
Best thing.
Okay. Isra, we haven't heard from you in a bit. And I think you were driving. You see this thing collapse. You see Muck go up to it, kind of calm it down. It still seems to be alive. Sun Tzu disappears from view. What would you be up to, Isra, at this point?
I'm going to say maybe that I keep using this vehicle to sort of herd any people that are still out and about in a particular direction, because I'm thinking that there may be some things that we need to do back here with this thing. So I kind of want to use the truck to find a building to get like all of the other people that are running around into.
Okay. You got reassurance and everything, right?
I do. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'll say you go around and anybody who's not hurt and on the ground and or clearly dead, because you think some people have to be, you either give them a ride, like they climb onto a certain part of the truck or they get into the cab with you and they thank you kindly, etc. And you can see they're all panicking and like wide eyes. The waitress is one of them. And you drive them down the road of ways where a freestanding like Mission Chapel church is kind of standing there, and it seems to be the left, like it hasn't been affected in any particular way. So you kind of bring them up there, and like you see priest comes out and is like kind of getting people in, and like they're sort of laying out some place where people can take cover and talking about trying to contact the sheriff and etc. So I'll say you're no problem with that.
Perfect. Crowd control.
So at this point, I'll say you've managed to move a bunch of the people who would be witnesses. Certainly many of them were coming up to look, but seeing all the dead and the damage and the destruction, like I would say, with Isra spending the time to get them away from it. You have some time now with the mammoth without anyone necessarily seeing you. Like you think you have some moments before, like Israel, people are talking about getting in their trucks and driving to the next town, trying to get some medical help and this and that. So you have a little bit of time. Sun Tzu eventually pops back with a Kinko's bag, filled with stuff. So you guys would know that your basic jobs whenever you're sent on a mission is to repair the timeline. So like figure out whatever the hell went wrong, okay, and fix it, and make sure that people aren't going to remember it, so there aren't like any lasting ripple effects. This game isn't really like Butterfly Effect in the sense that one little thing isn't going to necessarily cause the end of the world, but like a whole town of people witnessing, a mammoth attack is that's not a butterfly, right? That's going to have a thing. So you've seen some strange coronal radiation that does not correspond to your autocrons. It's definitely something related to a different kind of forming time travel phenomenon. This mammoth, you damn well know, is from like, I would say Jimmy, you would know this, Muck, you would know this, anybody else with like outdoor survival or history, ancient or something like that would know that this is like, these things went extinct like, thousands, tens of thousands of years, like 12,000 years, something like that. So you have that in mind. You know that there was supposed to be a nuclear test 4 days ago, and there wasn't. You know that there was like crazy military presence that's been going on, and now it's like suddenly not around town. What are you guys doing with all of that? Don't worry about order. Don't worry about we're not in structured time. So just talking. What you got, Thomas?
I've got something. So I'm going to try and use my knowledge of notice and science to see if I can locate like the source of the anomaly. Like maybe there is something around here that is causing a rift.
The only proper way
okay.
to say that skill, by the way.
Yeah,
Is exactly as you said it. Science.
Science. Okay. You could, I would say, yeah, science would probably be fine. Timecraft would probably be pretty appropriate too, since this is specifically time travel related science.
Yeah, actually.
All of you should have a little bit of it. You think that you can certainly track the signature if you wanted to. That's definitely something you could do. It's certainly not in town. It's definitely leading away from town. I would say you would probably guess that the mammoth is what's giving off that trail because it's outside of its time. It shouldn't be here, right? So you would effectively be like kind of backtracking the route the mammoth took to get here. Like that's something you could do if you wanted to do that.
This obviously is the anomaly, but if we see where it came from, then maybe we can learn a bit more. And it appears to be that way.
I would talk back to you,
you're
but
moving your mouth. Could you speak up, please?
Oh, I looked at the thing too quick. The light was blinking slow. We could just go back 4 or 5 days and ask the military people why they didn't blow up a bomb.
I'm sure they'd be eager to share that. But that is a good idea.
Did the public know about that test at that time?
It's probably kind of hard.
So like no one really like. There's a lot of like obviously the Manhattan Project was certainly under wraps, but I'm gonna play it as like literally in New Mexico and Tularosa. Like there would have been some stories indicating it, like not necessarily like, hey, this was an atomic bomb that exploded, but something weird happened in the White Sands Desert, right? And we
would retroactively know that that's what
you guys
would know stuff was happening there.
Right.
Yeah,
you would have some knowledge that something was going down out and like something happened, and then but you could also like one of the other things you could potentially do is you could travel into the future and test the site in the area around for radiation that would like nuclear radiation to see if it actually went off. That's another thing you could do potentially to check it.
I know. This is something I know. I'm trying to see what I could throw it under. Maybe research. Is there any like photo developing shop in the area? Anyone that like a photographer or anyone like that in town?
I would say if you spend a research point, I would say it survived the mammoth destruction. But you also could, like you just did with the Kinko's thing, literally.
That's not why I'm asking. So, one of the ways that people discovered that we did nuclear testing was that a lot of undeveloped film got ruined with radiation. So if a bomb went off nearby, there'd be a lot of radiation in any undeveloped film that we'd be able to look at and see.
Okay. I'll tell you what, like, yeah, if you do, make a research spend, I think, because this is a little bit weird and we have like the destruction and stuff, but say you go through like the general store, maybe this is like pre-Kodak era and stuff, like where like we kind of saw it and everything, but maybe this person in the back, they just, something they did. You also, we'll say that you do notice, in fact, that there isn't any of the expected destruction. Which would lead you to conclude that, like Jimmy was sort of believing that test did not go off, did not happen.
Did not happen for some reason. Okay.
When
Okay.
when I'm out, sorry, when I'm out, like dropping people off in the church, like, can I chat with them about like
Yeah,
the
of course.
last, like this Mildred, I think is what Sarah named her, had
That's
mentioned,
what you're
like,
gonna be. Your name is Mildred.
the waitress.
Waitress name is Agnes.
Oh,
And
Agnes.
she has
sorry.
a little things
that's
as
right.
Agnes on it. Yeah.
So Agnes had said, like, where's the military where you need them? So she wants to chat up Agnes on this drive out to that church about, like, when did the military leave? What's been going on, like, the last couple days? Anything else weird? So this would be my, I think, reassurance would be the skill that I'm trying to, like,
Sure.
elicit information from.
Okay. So as you kind of get a quiet moment with her, and she's in decent shape, she's like, and she's finally kind of caught her breath, and she's like, "Y'all just a bunch of heroes. You were. Oh my goodness, just the park rangers. Oh my, I had no idea. Well, darling, none of us really know for sure exactly what's been going on, but there's been all sorts of trucks and planes and extra folk around town here and there. Not today, of course, but no. I heard from a couple folks. They say that they think there's some sort of secret prison up in the White Sands, and that, like, maybe some prisoners escaped or something, and they were, like, out looking for them. We even saw the Pinkertons of all. I didn't even realize that they still existed. And then some folks even said that they had some kind of special, like a experimental base or something, that they were making, like, special planes or something. Some folks said something like time travel, but that'd be ridiculous, of course. But I don't know. It's just after seeing this, maybe that makes sense. To be honest, maybe, I mean, man, that wasn't no elephant. That wasn't that was something different, right? That was like
That
those
was
things called, from like the dinosaurs.
I'm the reason that we were called in is there was an escape nearby. So you were right, that was not an ordinary elephant, and so I imagine that there was kind of some communication. So, like, Israel would know that Sun Tzu went to go make the flyers and do that thing, and so kind of this is building off of that it was escaped from a circus, and so, like, that's why it doesn't look like it normally does, because it's just all, like, made up and for effect, because this carnival show is going to act like they have a woolly mammoth. So that's kind of, she's selling this kind of cover story.
Okay.
So I could do a reassurance spend if need be.
If you like. Sure. Yeah, you could use reassurance. That's fine. I would also remind you all that you guys check out your equipment. You have things like mem tags. When someone witnesses anachronistic events and can't be talked to the memory in any other way, you can use those, like the mem tagging process. They're basically little data chips that you have to place on an unconscious and usually stunned subject. They act as a chronal beacon for time watch technicians in the far future to kidnap them, and then, like, their minds are wiped and all that kind of stuff, right? So, like,
yeah. So Israel's trying the, like, first attempt at let's see if they buy the cover story, to see, like, who we might need to mem tag, because if they buy the cover story, then we don't have to knock them out and mem tag them and go through the whole.
So good.
I love that.
So we're trying to pass the approach first. Yeah.
Just go slapping them on people who are trying to get up, like, what in tarnation, and then poof, they disappear. Okay, if you want to make this spend, she will start spreading that rumor. Absolutely.
I would like to do that.
Okay. And so yeah,
okay, so she thinks
she's gonna think that what, like, there's an escaped elephant from a carnival, like a traveling carnival.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think?
Yeah, but basically it's just, like, made up to look like it's a woolly mammoth, because that's how, like, that's what carnivals and all those things did, is they acted like they had some, whatever kind of creature, and it really wasn't that. Yeah, like, it's exactly.
Okay, she will buy that from you, and she will begin to potentially proliferate that rumor amongst the people. Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
So So just to summarize, so she's heard that there's been trucks and planes in the area. They think there's a secret prison, and there's Pinkertons that maybe are messing around with time travel.
They were well, she was saying that she didn't necessarily say Pinkertons and time travel in the same section. It was like there's even some Pinkertons around here making asking all sorts of questions, and then saying if we saw any kind of strange folk or strangers and folks that are showing up when they're not supposed to be here and that sort of thing. And then I don't know, and then this happens, and then and then I mean, it could be time travel, I guess, but like you said, it's probably no. That's silly. That's ridiculous. Time travel doesn't exist. It's probably just like you said. It's probably just an elephant that we could probably just go pull the fur off right now, couldn't we?
It's best to just stay out here for a bit and just make sure that everything is, let us do our job, and thank you much.
Park rangers, huh? Oh, which park y'all from?
Central.
We're from Central. You name nearby New Mexico Park area, I guess.
Yeah. I did a quick Google Bandelier. I don't even know that that's anywhere close to that area, but sure, that's what I say.
I don't know. We're in the wrong state. Okay, so you have begun to circulate a rumor. Doesn't change the fact there are still dead people and injured people out there, but you've begun to circulate a rumor that it wasn't a mammoth, that it was an elephant that was dolled up by a traveling circus, etc. So you've got that going. Thomas, you have a chronal radiation signal that you can track that is leading outside of town. And so you definitely could track that, and you can figure out where exactly potentially the mammoth first appeared. That's what you think this would potentially lead you to. Sun Tzu, you have returned with some sort of carnival broadsides and flyers that you're just going to toss amongst the various debris here and there that supports Isra's
Mix some
story.
of it in, so I'll put it in the newspaper stands as if it had been there for a few days.
Yeah, rub a little blood on it and put it underneath one of the dead bodies. Maybe they're excited to go see. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Okay.
So good. So good.
Muck, you have managed to calm and befriend the mammoth, thinking that perhaps if it actually wakes up, you could potentially keep it from freaking out again. Jimmy, you have confirmed that the nuclear test did not happen.
Yeah,
absolutely did not happen. And then, Syra, was there anything that you wanted to do that you think you would have been doing in this situation, in this aftermath here?
Yeah, if there's crowd control optics to manage, there's the Lucky Loser, whatever that Israel rounded up, or anyone else. If there's a crowd of people to speak to, that's what she'll do to help manage the messaging. But if there isn't, then nothing special.
Okay. We'll say you and Isra are in that grouping of people. Others are kind of flocking over. We start to see a sheriff's car approach, and so you can see that he's getting out with his big beautiful mustache, and you kind of intercept him on the way up to the church, and you start telling him the story.
Sarah's selling it hard, this is all Cirque du Prehistorique, a European traveling circus. Really animatronics from the highest levels of performance art in Europe, and I'm really selling it hard.
And he's just taking his hat off and scratching his head and ain't that's the darndest thing.
We're gonna get some of the local officials to come and see. Would you like a ticket? I can get you a ticket sent to your office.
Ma'am, I got about 12 dead constituents on the street there. I'm not too...
That's actors. Don't worry about it.
No, ma'am. I know that fella right there. He ran the diner. He's my brother-in-law, so I don't think... Oh, he's moving, though. Oh, thank God. Oh, my sister would have been so upset. Whew. But no, I don't think they're actors, ma'am. That's a lot of destruction. I think half the town's fallen.
Some of them are definitely actors. I'm sorry if your brother-in-law got caught up in this, but most of them,
Ma'am.
I can assure you, are actors.
Ma'am, I'm going to invite you to turn around, and I want you to notice that, do you see the street is completely collapsed, and that building is no more, and that building's no more, and that truck right there, which used to deliver milk, ain't going to be delivering milk no more. That's flipped up overside, and I think that's the driver's arm stuck in underneath there. So I'm going to kindly ask you to stop trying to make me believe that these are actors. So,
Right. Sir, you're right. I'm so sorry, and I'm going to very gently tap his shoulder and put a mem tag on him.
okay. Yeah. I think you just went a touch too far with the story. I just don't think a local sheriff
I think you need
would
to
have gone that far.
stun him, because I think you have to do a thing if you try to mem tag.
Ideally, you stun
Okay.
him. You don't have to stun him, though. It is
Okay.
ideal to stun them first. So, what does it say? I have it. It's in here. So, okay. So it's a good recommendation to make them unconscious first, because it makes the technician's job easier. But also, the tachyon beam technology used for remote retrieval typically renders a conscious subject incurably insane. So basically, you're going to make the sheriff insane. Are you okay with that?
Sarah has not the best morals, so I think she would be okay.
So if you're okay with that, then make a scuffling test. Because you gotta do a scuffling test. I would also, if you have any kind of,
I had a point in before, but I don't.
I would also take, if you have like burglary or something like that, I would take burglary too.
1 second.
Like burglary,
I
plant
don't
something
have
on
burglary, but I do have spying.
I don't think spying would. Well, it does say plant listening devices, located device on others. Yeah, I'll take it if you want to make the spend. Yeah, if you want to make that spend, no roll necessary then.
Yeah, I'll make the spend.
Okay. So you intercept him on his way up, right, to the chapel, and you're talking to him, and he's buying it for a while, but then you start talking about animatronics, and he starts saying that these are actors, and he's looking around, and he's seeing people he knows, he's seeing buildings that he goes in and gets coffee that are destroyed, and he just starts to look at you a little differently, like you're out of your mind, or maybe you're behind all this, and right as he's about to say, "Let me see some ID," you kind of just quickly reach back, you tap him with the mem tag, and then suddenly he disappears. And that is where we're going to go ahead and end it for tonight, and we will pick up on that next week. Okay.
That was really nice.
That was good.
In our first session.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
I wanted to help and try and knock him out first, but I guess he's gone.
he's gone now.
He's gone.
He's gone now. It's just an incurably insane sheriff in the Southwest United States. That's never happened before, and it'll definitely never happen
He'll
again.
fit in better, actually.
I was gonna say, I don't think anyone's gonna see any
He's
difference.
gonna be a congressman.
We've improved his life.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
Sarah eventually runs his campaign.
Oh my goodness.
You've had enough of
There we
these
go.
damn mammoths.
He's clearly a member of the Republican Party, right? Because the elephant.
Elephants.
Yeah,
The elephant. The elephant. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. There you
All
go.
right. Let's go ahead. Let's do some closing plugs, and then we'll get on out of here. I'm going to go by overlay order. So, Trey, tell us a little bit about where we can find you on the internet.
I am Mighty Plays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system different content that centers the GM and player experience. That you should check it if you want to check that kind of thing out.
Awesome. Joe and Chuck, what's going on with Defenders of Cobalt?
Wednesday, we're playing Savage Rifts. Friday, we are playing Cyberpunk. And that's it this week.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And
Awesome.
then Saturdays, maybe not the next one, because Army is skipping it for...
Yeah, it'll be like another 4 months.
Yeah, something like that.
Sometime.
Something like that. And 3 weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be doing Salvage Union, rules light mecha game. Everyone just harvested some mushrooms off the back of the kaiju and saved a town's water supply with it. So it's going good. Lots of fun stuff.
Heroes.
That sounds awesome. You liking Salvage Union?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I was worried about how simplistic the system was with just the single D20 roll, but there's a lot of depth and more stuff to it than that.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool. Yeah. Did we ever talk about Ethernexus too? Is another mech game?
Yeah. That's another one I'm looking at. You
cool.
said that.
Yeah, I was peeking at that at some point too. Maybe giving a one shot of it. Cool. Let's see, Adam, what's going on with Cannon Otter?
Cannon Otter is in the middle of layout for Skin City, our next game. But I mean, if you're waiting on Skin City to come out, you could always go to store.cannonotter.com and pick up a copy of Teenage Odyssey. That way you can live the fever dream that was the 90s. Maybe you could even find old Farmer Jenkins.
Or run into Sun Tzu at a Kinko's.
At a Kinko's, yeah. I mean, it could happen if you
old-timey carnival
Kinko's.
flyers. Yeah.
I'm not Sun Tzu, but I give that all the time.
Oh my goodness!
Some kid just thinks you're in cosplay.
Oh my goodness!
Also, if you're in the Kansas City area the last weekend of June, you could come to a convention in Overland Park called CantCon and play some of our games. Meet us. Maybe buy some books there.
That sounds awesome. Right on, man. Okay. As for us, first thing I'm going to say, check out Huckleberry RPG. HuckleberryRPG.com. Our buddy Steven has been making this. It's an awesome game. He just sent me some new stuff I get to edit, so I'm very excited to dig into that. But that'll be coming to Backer Kit, I think, later this year. So hop on over to the website, follow along, jump into the Discord, ask some questions, try out the quick draw version so you can kind of actually play it right now in a couple different scenarios as well. In terms of streaming, our next game is until Thursday. Tomorrow night we're off. We're off for a couple weeks on Tuesdays, but Kipster will be running us through a new game soon. But Thursday we'll be back with more Swords of the Serpentine. So if you're a Gumshoe fan, if you like games made by Kevin Culp, you should come on Thursday because this was and so is that. So come and watch that. Friday we have a Dragonbane game that our friend Aaron is running us through. Saturday we've got Call of Cthulhu where we're playing Eternal Lies, which is technically a Trail of Cthulhu campaign, but we're playing in Call of Cthulhu because Steven's an asshole. And then next Monday we'll be back for more of this. All right.
Nice.
So we're gonna do a raid. Let's go to Blackwater D&D. Follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.